Hello and welcome to your Vedic Lunar Scope for today, the 14th of October, 2015. The moon today is in the early portion of the sign of Scorpio as it's making its way through Swati nakshatra. You're wanting to do something today. And sure, that particular desire or impulse in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing. And neither is what I'm going to tell you next, but it's not necessarily going to lead you in the direction that you're perhaps hoping that it would, right? The thing is you're wanting something to happen in a very specific, detail-oriented manner and for a very specific, detail-oriented reason. And that's precisely why things are not working out for you. It's because you're creating resistance for yourself by just insisting that it actually be your way or the highway. But if you took the high way, as in the high road, rather than the road that you're taking, which is insisting that it be your way, then you would actually find that things could begin to work out a little bit more auspiciously for you. Things would head in a more appropriate direction than continually running up against a dead end and banging your head against a brick wall, which is ultimately no fun and is just going to lead you to a headache, right? So first of all, here's a couple of questions for you. Can there be any love behind the present course of action that you're taking? Is there any sense of enthusiasm? Any sense of inspiration in taking the path that you're taking, right? Well, there might be inspiration or enthusiasm for the reason that you're doing it. But as you're coming up against the resistance, well, certainly there's not any enthusiasm. I would say that's probably more a higher level of frustration that you're feeling than real enthusiasm. So the situation is that you have to get involved with something at this moment for the right reason. And that's because your heart is fully behind it, you're inspired about it, and once you do that, you don't need to get into all the details. You don't need to go into, well, it's going to happen in this manner and this must happen by this stage. Well, things need to happen at their own particular pace and not necessarily the pace that you want to set for them to happen. You need to just be really focused on the actual love of what you're doing if you really want this to come through and if you really want it to come to a good end. That needs to be more of the focus rather than the details that you're getting rather caught up in at the moment. So rather than getting caught up in the details, instead get caught up in the heart. Go with the enthusiasm, go with the inspiration that's there. That's ultimately going to point you in the right direction more than your method of trying to figure it out in a very detailed, micromanaged sort of way. That's only going to end up in a position where you're going to feel left flat. Swati is an artha-driven nakshatra. It wants to achieve a very specific goal. And with Swati nakshatra, there can occasionally be the feeling that one is going about something for a very selfish reason, right? Sometimes that selfish reason is really just for self-betterment, though, and knowing what is right for one. And I would imagine with this particular circumstance you're dealing with now, that there is a very good level of that, right? But where you're getting caught up in the selfish actions is mainly in insisting that it work out in exactly the manner that you want it to work out, rather than recognizing that, well, something can work out rather beneficial for you, but it needs to happen in its own particular manner, not the manner that you dictate for it, okay? The lunar tithi today is Shukla Dvitiya. It's the second day of the bright half of the moon. With this particular energy, you actually have the capacity to notice the mistake that you've been making and actually rectify the situation and grow from the well, what's the word I want to use, from all the past failures that really weren't failures, they're more just learning experiences, right? So there are really no failures. It's just learning what you need to do in order to change things, which isn't micromanage the situation and go, oh, maybe if I do this and tweak that, it'll all work out better. Instead, you need to focus on where the love is. And if the love can't be in the actions, then that's ultimately not going to lead you in the right direction. And that's what the solar lunar yoga is showing. It's saying you have to get involved in something and feel really inspired by it and get completely wrapped up in it to the extent that all that you can see is the love of the action itself, not the desire for the result, because it's the desire for that result which is creating the ultimate problem. If you're dealing with a bit of a tricky situation and could use a little bit of extra assistance in coping with it, I do offer several different tiers of astrological service, all of which are available through the astrological services page of my website. You should see a little eye in the upper right-hand corner of the video. If you click on that, that will take you to my astrological services page, where you can read about what I have on offer and potentially book a session. That's going to do it for your Vedic Lunar Scope for today, the 14th of October, 2015. Until next time, please take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.